Welcome back, everybody, to the Miami Marlins franchise on MLB The Show 25. Continuing with Season 2, I did my first stream of this series yesterday. I wanted to begin occasionally streaming to get more games played and to interact with everybody about the series. And then I'd take all those highlights and clips that were important from the stream and bring them into the next episode. I will have the stream linked down below in a pinned comment if you'd like to check out the long version of all these games. Otherwise, kick back and enjoy all the highlights and everything else we talk about today. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already for more Marlins franchise. So once we get past Season 1, I like to play a lot more games, especially in the very beginning of the season. Really set the stage with those early season storylines and everything. So we get into our first game. This is player lock now with Jonah Bride, with Jesus Sanchez singling to left and loading the bases here in the fourth. Otto Lopez with one gone ends up grounding into a 4-6-3 double play as the Marlins are unable to score. Game 2 of the season now would be a very low-scoring affair where Sandy Alcantara would pitch deep into this game, into the 7th, 2-on. Base hit goes into right field. Rangers want to score the game's first run. I'm not prepared to be a good cutoff man, unfortunately, and a run scores. We do get the out here at second base, but the Rangers go up 1-0. On to the 9th, Jonah Bride with a shallow fly ball that lands in center field. We do not take the extra base here. It is going to be a single. On the next at-bat, though, this pitch in the dirt is going to bounce away from the catcher, and we are going to move Bride up here to second base. Trying to bring him home is Connor Norby, and he hits a base hit into right field, but we're not running on Adolis Garcia. Instead, hoping Lopez can bring us home, but another ground ball to the right side would end this game with a 1-0 Marlins loss. Starting the season 1-1. Overall, I wanted to really highlight the pitchers in the early part of this schedule, as we have a lot of very good prospects pushing for their spot in the rotation. It's a great opening to the year for Sandy Alcantara, and Edward Cabrera would then get the rubber match in Game 3 against the Rangers. I want to see if we can get this season off to a good start as well. I mean, after a 51-win season, I want to see us take major steps in year 2. But down 3-0 in the 6th, and now Connor Norby turns on the fastball inside. Slash down the line for extra bases. We put 2 in scoring position. However, sliding into third base, Jonah Bride did suffer an injury. The trainer thinks it could have been much worse, but it is likely a severe sprain. He would come out of the game at that point. Derek Hill next, grounds to second, brings home the Marlins' first run since opening day. Otto Lopez, why is he getting all these key at-bats? Well, I thought the ball was going to get away from the catcher, and I end up getting Norby out at third base. That slow-mo there is really tripping me up in a lot of cases. Top of the 8th now, Norby just misses his first homer on the season. The count goes 3-2, and he lines out hard to Josh Young at third base. The Marlins struggle again offensively, scoring just 1 run over games 2 and 3 against Texas, and we end up dropping the opening series. Overall, our pitching was really good in these first 3 games, with Cabrera going 4 1/3, 6 strikeouts, and 3 earned runs. Then we check on Jonah Bride's status and see it is a sprained knee ligament. He is going to be on the 10-day injured list, and that is going to bring up outfielder Kyle Stowers. Lamont Wade will move to the everyday first base spot, and Stowers can both back him up and maybe DH a little bit. So I opened the stream with 2 player lock games, but I wanted to play 2 full games afterwards to use Ryan Weathers and Max Meyer. Well, now on to a series against the Braves. Here is a pop-up by Connor Norby. looks like a foul ball, and then all of a sudden, magnetizing to the glove of Matt Olson. Turns out it's not out of play, it's an out. Moving on, Ryan Weathers. Can he take a step forward here in 2026? He strikes out Ronald Acuna Jr. to wrap up his first inning. And we jump ahead to the second here on a 3-0 count. It's Jesus Sanchez belting a fastball to right center. And it's run down by Ronald Acuna Jr. Looking for our first homer on the year. I thought we might have had it there. Augustin Ramirez is next. Gets a slider elevated and crushes it into the left center gap. He ends up with the double. Dane Myers later in the third, 2-1, and that's going to skate by Riley at third. And turning the corner is Ramirez as we score our first run off veteran Chris Sale. In the third, Ryan Weathers, good sweeper, left on left to catcher Drake Baldwin. And with Michael Harris at bat, later in the inning, he grazes the outside edge. Harris doesn't like it. Weathers looked really good in these first few innings. Jurickson Profar, though, does line a base hit into right field, and the Braves are able to tie this game up at 1. Fourth inning, Sanchez at the plate again. And a crushed fly ball deep to right once again. And this time it's off the wall, hit too high. On to second, we get 2 into scoring position. And Augustin Ramirez then chops one up the middle. Trouble at short. Ramirez legs out the infield single. Dane Myers following. Fly ball hit to left. Setting up to tag. And sprinting home, that is Jesus Sanchez. Diving in safely. Marlins up 3-1 on Atlanta. Getting after Chris Sale a bit. Fourth inning now. Matt Olson up the middle. Braves get 2 on against Weathers. Orlando Arcia. That's grounded. Trouble for Norby. He regathers. And then Wade can't scoop it. And Norby's charged with an error. I don't know if it's for the fielding play or the throw. Maybe he deserves 2 on that one. Bases loaded. Daz Cameron. Grounded. Edwards. Tough play. Makes the perfect throw, working away from the base. I was scared for that one, but he made a great play. So trying to get Weathers through the 5th then. That's all I wanted to see. But it was clear that after 4 innings, he had kind of lost his command. That one going to the backstop, a pretty good sign that we should take him out. So I thought it was a good 4-inning outing, but you want your starter to go at least 5. We insert Hogan Harris, and that is speared by Connor Norby at third base. Now we have 1 down for Riley, and Wade with the pick, out for Lopez, and the return to first. Double play. Weathers only on the hook for 1 run allowed. Here's Kyle Stowers in the 6th inning, and that'll be dumped in right field. Marlins get runners at the corners facing veteran reliever Jordan Romano. And Dane Myers up the middle. That's a base hit. Stowers off with the pitch. He takes third. Myers with 3 run-producing hits in this game out of the 9 spot. And then Edwards drops it in center, a bloop single. We replace the runner at third again, going up 5-1. And we're not done there. Late night Lamont Wade. Through the middle, another 2-out hit off of Jordan Romano. The Marlins rally, build the lead to 5. Bottom 6, grounded to Harris. How about this double play turn to get out of the inning? Just a phenomenal all-around play. Otto Lopez able to make a perfect throw while being taken out there by the slide. 5 runs up in the 7th. Lopez takes inside and swiping second. That is going to be Derek Hill. Another RBI chance. We get Jesus Sanchez at the plate, and that one's belted to center. He's making some really good contact, hitting the ball fairly hard. And that's going to bring home run number 7. Marlins up big on the Braves as we put Dylan Coleman in the game in the 7th. Thought he looked really good on opening day. He was a Rule 5 pick, so he's really trying to stick on this roster. And he puts together a 1-2-3 7th inning, striking out Profar to close it. In the 8th now, Kyle Stowers, our favorite player, he's going to line this to left field. He did not score in the inning, but I got to show you the Kyle Stowers highlights. Bottom 8 now. Here's Lopez on the third base side. The throw not in time, but why not use the challenge here and see if they got it wrong? And it turns out Acuna's out on a ridiculous throw by Otto Lopez, and that's what makes him such a great defensive shortstop. Bottom of the 8th with Andrew Nardi in the game. This is a Matt Olson double. Nardi, I'm hoping, can be one of our best relievers this year, but this was not a very good outing. A lot of hard-hit balls, and the Braves get 2 back, ultimately still lose the game 7-3. And overall, it was a really good all-around showing for our Marlins. Offensively, to put up 13 hits, 7 runs, get so much production from the bottom of this order, and to do all that damage with no long balls. Now, I wanted to see a home run, of course, but the fact that we didn't need one and could still have a game like that, I think is a big plus. But 4 games into the year, we were the only major league team without a home run, period, which I hoped we could finally correct in our 5th game. A chance to see Max Meyer, former number 3 overall selection. Last year was tough for him. It really needs to get better if he's to hold off guys like Noble Meyer and our other top pitching prospects. Well, game 2 opens, and that's Garrett Hampson nearly blasting one out. He ends up with a double. Meyer then loses Daz Cameron, the 2-hitter, and with 2 in scoring position, does get Riley to fish outside. Can Meyer get out of the inning wearing these 2003 throwbacks? Close pitch here. It goes the way of Olsen to load the bases. A long first inning, Meyer then throwing pitches in the dirt. The changeup was not really commanded well, and he ends up walking his 3rd batter of the inning, bringing home the Braves' first run. Bases loaded, Sean Murphy, another sinker in the dirt. At this point, he had no confidence in his fastball, but we throw one anyway, and we're lucky to get the pop-up in front of our dugout. We only give up the 1 run, and I hoped that would help Meyer settle in. Top 3, Spencer Strider versus Kyle Stowers, and that is a towering fly ball, the deep right center that stays in the park. 40-degree launch angle was a little too much. Bottom 3, Meyer at 47 pitches, grounded for Norby. On to second and into right field. Another throwing error for Connor Norby. It's going to continue to be a work in progress with him. 2 on for Matt Olson. Into center. Ruiz chases it all the way to the wall. Braves tack on a pair, and it's 3-0. And at this point, I didn't think we were going to see Meyer stay in a whole lot longer. Left center again. Ruiz chases it again, getting his cardio in as a run scores. And I could tell it was time to make a change. Tough debut in 2026 for Max Meyer. He goes just 2, allowing 5, because this home run by Sean Murphy would score the run he was responsible for on second base. 6-0 start, all Braves early. Our starters out of the game after 6 outs. This might be one of those games you think, all right, let's just get out of here and move on to the next one. Part of why I stuck around is because I really wanted to see us eventually hit a home run. But Spencer Strider, very tough, gets the strikeout of Norby. In the 5th inning now, 2 gone, 1 on for Ruiz. And that pitch misses outside. Strider ends up walking him to put 2 on, as this became his longest inning of the day. We flip the lineup over. Xavier Edwards with a line drive, dumped in left. Will send the runner home, and the Marlins are on the board. RBI single, Xavier Edwards. Still in the 5th, Lamont Wade. Hit the other way and stays fair into the corner. Run scores on to second and third now. Marlins chipping away and Chase Strider out of the game. Not even eligible for the win. Norby now. Deep drive against Aaron Bummer and he just missed it. And the Marlins are still without a home run. Ronnie Enriquez did give up that early homer, but bounced back immediately and got us through some of this middle of the game. We then turn to Jesus Tinoco, who gets a big strikeout, stranding 2. We stay down 4 and move on top of the 6th. 2 out, and a hanging curveball crushed by Agustin Ramirez. That ball flies out, and it's our first homer of the season. Rookie catcher Agustin Ramirez hits the first of season 2, and man, that took a long time. 3-run game. Ronald Acuna says I liked it better when we were up 4. Right center without a doubt. 406 feet for Acuna's second on the year. In the 7th, the Braves turn to Jordan Romano, looking for redemption after the previous day's outing. A soft chopper, and that's a base hit for Estieri Ruiz. He might as well have had a 10-foot double there as he gets into scoring position. And then Connor Norby at the plate, 0 for 3 on the day. Until this rocket to left center, back and gone! A home run. First on the season for Norby. Marlins cut it to a 2-run game as Romano gives up 5 runs over these 2 outings. We put Dylan Coleman into this game. We had to use nearly every reliever after our starter went 2. That's a deep drive. Estieri Ruiz way back near the waterfall, making the catch. And with 2 gone, Prado, that's a busted bat on the cutter inside. And Coleman gets us through another frame. But the Marlins need some runs in the 9th inning. Matt Strom is on to close us out. He went 46 of 53 on save attempts last year. Kyle Stowers leads off. We don't pinch hit, and he walks, bringing the tying run to the plate. It is Ruiz, and that is lined into center field. Stowers running on to third base, turns the corner, and Ruiz has brought us within 1 run. And his great speed wasn't far away. 1 gone here. Lamont Wade, our big free agent acquisition. Not chasing that slider. We work this count full. And Strom throws him a fastball again down the middle. It's flied to center. Ruiz is going to score easily on that. It is a blown save for Matt Strom. Now we get a good enough reason to insert our closer into the game to try and force extras. Olsen, Chopper, Lopez, Edwards, that's a double play. And we do go to extra innings. The Braves have another guy who was a really good closer a few years ago in Paul Sewald. We get 2 on here in the 10th inning, and Otto Lopez now doing it with the glove earlier. Now he laces a single to put the Marlins in front. But you know, in extra innings, you can't feel good until you get that second run. Ramirez into right. Great piece of hitting. It drops in. Yes, we're aggressive. And we're out at the plate. An unbelievable play by Ronald Acuna Jr. Let's see this again. So when does the tag get applied? It looks like he hits the ankle. The catcher tags the ankle of Jesus Sanchez here, while his hand is just an inch off of home plate. An unbelievable defensive play for the Braves, but followed by Dane Myers flying into center, and that ball is going to drop in. We take the late break as they throw to the cutoff man and get that second run of the inning. 9-7 Miami. Kyle Stowers. That's It's going to opposite field and will plate another run. Stowers to second, producing immediately upon being called up. A 2-for-3 game for him. Now Estieri Ruiz. And his great day continues up the middle. That is a 2-run single. The Marlins put 5 across. And Emilio Pagan stays in for not a save attempt, obviously. He came into a tie game, but now has to protect a 5-run lead. And he would do just that, striking out Garrett Hampson. Marlins win the game, erasing a 6-0 deficit where our starter only went 2 innings with our best player, Jonah Bride, on the injured list. Welcome to Season 2, everybody. We're trying to change this franchise going forward. What a day of games this was. Again, if you want to go watch the full version, every pitch of these games, you can check out the stream I have in that pinned comment. There was a lot to talk about, way more than I expected from one stream. But that's not all we're doing today. Let me know down below what you thought of the first 20 minutes of this video. I know it's a different feel to the episode with those game recaps as opposed to all the live stuff that usually makes up these episodes. But I want to get more games in, and I like doing streams that can supplement the series. But if you're not into streams or don't have the time, I'm always going to bring those highlights and the top moments. And really, those streams are just to get extra games played that would otherwise be simulated. And I do want to get more games in. Like, I went through year 1 playing very little with this team. But now in Season 2, I definitely want more time in game. I also just like starting off a season by playing a lot of these games and getting through the rotation the first time, especially when it's set up like we have, where Sandy Alcantara could be traded at some point this year, and we have a couple young pitchers, and who knows if they're truly a deep part of this future, or if they're going to end up being replaced by guys like Noble Meyer, Robbie Snelling. I want to track how our starters do to see when it's time to give these players a chance and how the rotation ends up unfolding. So we have some storylines right off the bat, I think, with Max Meyer's rough start and then Jonah Bride on the injured list. He won't be there all that long, but it did give us some more Kyle Stowers moments there. And I know he's a 57 overall, but I care a lot more about these numbers than I do these ones. He's going to stick around and be a part of this franchise as long as he produces. I don't expect him to keep up like these averages and the numbers he has shown here in 86 series at-bats, but we're still going to give him opportunities to succeed. So with that, we are now through the first 5 games of the year. We're going to move past this Atlanta series where Yuri Perez does come back and throw 5 innings this time around. Did give up 4, struck out 5. Dylan Coleman throws up another 0, by the way. Connor Norby 1 for 3 on steal attempts. And we had 2 errors. Yeah, expect a lot of ugly baseball throughout the season. We now take on the Rays, and I did stick them back in the Trop for this year, by the way. And something else I wanted to point out is with Agustin Ramirez now, if he can have a big year, that's where this prospect promotion incentive could come into play. This actually did happen to us back in the Cardinals franchise. This is an incentive they created where if you are bringing up prospects and, not stashing them in the minors, but playing them, if you have a player on this list win Rookie of the Year, you can be awarded an extra first-round pick that lands between, 31 and 40, and that is extremely valuable. So Agustin Ramirez is on this list for us, and I think he will have a chance. He will be in the running. I'd like to see them expand this, and if anybody on this list even made the All-Star game, that would be something, but with fan voting and everything, that could be easily manipulated in some way. I wanted to get us to our first chance to look at scouting for this year, as Estieri Ruiz does put in another productive day. I mean, a week into the year, that signing looks incredible. Unfortunately, we end up dropping this game. I wish they would still show, the box scores scoring by inning in this screen. I don't know why that's gone, and it makes this game log feel very empty not having that. So unfortunately, we dropped 3 games in a row here. Looks like a rough outing for Edward Cabrera. But this year, we own the number 1 selection. We pick at 1, 39, 70, and 77. So we do already have one of those extra first round picks. I guess it's considered a second, the competitive balance stuff. But we get the number 1 pick this year. Any player here can be on our team. And I think I have 3 scouts here that will set up nicely for us. So I like to go with 1 on the lower end to free up some budget for the higher end scouts. So high efficiency here, good for position players. But then we have 2 scouts that can do some discovery. Jay Aguilar, really good for position players. And then Anthony English, high on pitchers. Well, 85 on position player isn't bad either. So what does this class have for us then? These are the top players on the MLB board. Last year, it was really a lot of players that had college experience, but the top 2 players now 18 years old. So I think in a perfect world, we would look to see an elite outfielder be available here at the very top. Looks like we have 3 shortstops inside the top 10 in this class. And then for left field, nobody that projects inside the top 45. At center, nobody above 28. And then we do have a right fielder at 1 and 10. So I do think we're going to be doing a lot of discovery here to really give us all the great options available for that number 1 pick. Darrell Ingram, though, number 1 rated player from Louisiana, 18 years old. Fletcher Rankin from California, so different regions for these 2. I'll say our top needs are going to be right field starting pitcher. And then I'll say left field, as I still think we need to boost that part of the organization. We're going to discover outfield, pitcher, and scout the number 1 player here in our first session. Continuing on against Tampa, we lose another game, this one 3-0. We are without Jonah Bride right now. You have to wonder what effect that has on the offense. And then it's Spencer Strider facing us again, and now he's trying to go the distance in this game. Estieri Ruiz, how about those numbers? 814 OPS? A 1-0 game in a pitcher's duel between Strider and Max Meyer. So a big bounce back start. Fly ball from Ruiz. Got a good 2-0 fastball, but doesn't do much with it. Now it's Xavier Edwards at the plate with 1 gone, and into center it will fall. First and second now. We're seeing a lot of debuts being made, by the way. Ethan Salas, that catcher with the Padres, just debuted on the ticker down below. And the number 1 prospect who was drafted in our last year's draft class by the Angels already has made his major league debut. You know, when I began doing these series with my Twins franchise all those years ago, I was like really hesitant to bring up players who even had like the ratings to play at the bigs unless it had been a while, just because it felt like it was super unrealistic to have guys making early debuts, but it's become more the norm. So I don't worry about that too much anymore. Got him on a curveball. Wade strikes out. Strider goes 8. So I think now I'm going to start using that one setting where I don't have to actually warm up my bullpen arms anymore, especially for these situations where I come into a game, guy has 15 pitches, and they didn't warm anybody up for me. So I'm going to put in Dylan Coleman here in this spot. He has 4 excellent outings to this point. Last year, the bullpen was a wreck. It was terrible. Dylan Coleman, a Rule 5 pickup, though. A big reason why it's looking better right now. That's a really good slurve. Poked into right, and Sanchez runs it down. And I don't know, the shifting doesn't seem to be working to our benefit. These guys can hit the other way. Double for Riley. He has a pretty good fastball, too. That clocks in 96, 97. Ground ball from Olsen, 2 gone. And grounded for Lopez, who has trouble with it, and the play will not be made. I don't think that'll be an error, but the first run of the year allowed by Dylan Coleman. Part of why I want to play so much early in the season is to set up those narratives. That's when I think it's fun to see how things unfold, and for, things like the Kyle Stowers phenomenon to really take hold. That stuff doesn't really happen if we just simulate all the time. We have to play for it to really have the impact that we want. What makes franchise fun. But we strike out Profar, and now Matt Strahm is again going to try to nail down a save against us. He's 2 for 3. We all know the one he missed. And Norby hasn't been great to start the year, just a 184 average. Strahm 2-2. Misses down and in. A good battle here in the leadoff at bat. It's pitch number 8. Fly ball right field, and that is going to be an easy play. Not hit all that hard. Sanchez played so good in that stream. Like, everything felt like it was going to the warning track or deep in the outfield. Hitting just 194, though, at the moment. But we're still at that stage of the year where one big hit, 2 0 for 4s can really change your numbers and how they appear. Strike 3 on Jesus Sanchez. That saws him off. Strahm makes the catch impressively and bounces back big time against the Marlins. Braves take this one. And Jonah Bride is now going to be activated. We're going to give him a couple days on the bench, though. Still 1 to 6 days from his return, but don't want to lock him up into another 10-day stint. And I think we'll send Stowers down now as a result. Last handful of starts haven't been too great for him. A lot of strikeouts in there. I just want him playing every day, whatever the level is. Oh, what just happened here? Yuri Perez fractured forearm, out 2 to 3 months. Another long injured list stint is on the way for our star pitcher. Wow. So Perez was hurt before this series began, obviously. Then he has a scare in our opening day start, and now only goes 1 out before giving up 3 and getting hurt. His durability is a 77. I don't think that anything in his ratings makes him extremely injury prone. It could just be rotten luck. So at some point, I wanted to call somebody up to take over a spot in this rotation, but I didn't think this early or in this fashion. Replacing Perez wasn't on my mind. So who comes up then? Noble Meyer? I think this could be a little too early for him. I think who makes sense here is Valente Biozzo. So he's off to a good start this season with a couple starts down there at AAA, 11 innings, 12 strikeouts. And he did have a little experience back in 2024. And he's been on our 40-man roster at spring training, so he is the one we're going to ask to take over that spot then. And he really deserves to be in that same group with Max Meyer and Ryan Weathers as players who have a chance but are kind of, questionable right now. It's just his ratings have been lower and there's only 5 spots in the rotation. The Marlins have lost 6 games in a row now and have been shut out in 3 straight. We haven't scored in 5 days. Hey, we scored in this game. We got 1 run. We have just scored 2 runs in 5 games. This offense is really struggling right now. I was feeling pretty good about things during that stream. But right now, league worst batting average, league worst runs scored at 32. And you have seen every home run this season in this video. We have 2 homers in 12 games. We are getting our best home run hitter back in Jonah Bride, and our lineup is going to get stronger now. But this is a problem. We need some positivity now. Let's talk about something good. And I think we have a really good player now in Johnny Grieve that can be a part of this team's future. The first pick of this series is down at the Double-A level. He's played the first 6 games of his career. He's 4 for 24, 4 walks, a home run. Let's go check out Johnny Grieve. Taking a trip to Pensacola. And we have Southern League Baseball with Johnny Grieve, now one of the top prospects in our organization. Just had the first homer of his career on the previous day, and we do have him playing third base. So he does have some infield flexibility, can play third, first, and second. Now, typically from your third baseman, you want to see a high degree of power, which at the big league level, we have Connor Norby who supplies that. If we think about long term, where does Grieve fit best? It could be as our everyday second baseman. It looks like his defense is going to be solid, and he has a really good contact first bat. Looks like he'll pop out here to get things underway. So I'd love to see Johnny get up to the major league level, perhaps this year or certainly next. But I do think with our infielders, it is tough to find him like that ideal spot for everyday playing time, unless somebody new takes over a DH role. Because Xavier Edwards plays second base, whose bat is really good. Edwards can also play center, but his defense is just so low rated. And I don't know long term like what it looks like, if that gets better or if he has to become a DH that just gets on base a ton. Down the line and foul from Grieve. But it does seem that ideally Grieve would either DH or play second. First base is also an option. A 5'7" first baseman would be rather interesting. I actually have no idea if that affects like things in the game as much. Like, I'm sure at 5'7", it's tougher for him to reach out and grab certain balls that can go over his head, or to save bad throws potentially. So maybe not first base, but second, I think he has the build and the offensive skill set typical of a second baseman. All right, Drew Jones on deck, and Johnny Grieve with the 3-2 count. Under it again, Johnny. Hit a line drive for once. Yeah, his bat's kind of struggling here in his first handful of games down at the Double-A level. If it really struggles, he could see some time at Single-A, but the idea is that we have him play at whatever level allows him to get some development, and once he creeps into the 70s, then perhaps we could see him push towards a debut. Maybe that happens when rosters expand. I think that's a possibility. That's kind of the earliest point it would make some sense. So we'll check in on Johnny and other prospects throughout the year. Oh, wow, we face Jason Sellers in this next game. Top prospect Jason Sellers, who really isn't a prospect anymore because he's playing and playing well. 13 innings. Only 2 runs allowed, 3 strikeouts, only has a 37 K/9. He might not be striking many out with those ratings. That's probably my one big hang up here in franchise is how low a lot of these strikeout ratings are. And even if you have it at like 60 or 70, you can still be like a 5 K/9 guy, which is ridiculously low. But let's get a player lock game in here against the Angels, who at least have stuck to their kind of recent blueprint of drafting guys and getting them to the bigs early. Happened with Neto, Shonowell, Ryan Johnson, Ben Joyce. And yeah, we're trying to snap an 8-game losing streak right now, and I also think that losing but scoring 5 runs would be a nice improvement. We're holding down the basement again here in the East. And there he is, Jason Sellers, making his 3rd appearance. And I wanted to play with Jonah Bride here, as he just came off the injured list, and our offense is not looking good. So, go fix it, Jonah, is basically what I'm telling him. Sellers at 93 misses up and away. Also throws a changeup, curveball, and a slider. Ooh, changeup, and I was way ahead of it. Fly ball, left center field. That ball is run down in the gap. It's a 1-2-3 first inning. All right, 2 really good starts out the gate for Ryan Weathers in 2026. Hope he can start going a little bit deeper into his outings. And we'll bat now with 2 on, 2 out. Bride just 15 at-bats on the season. Slider clips the inside, 0-2. And inside and jammed. That's going to be run down. Let's play some defense now. It's Logan O'Hoppe at the plate. Grounded on. Pass. Third base. The diving Norby couldn't stop it. And that's going to be an out at second, getting over aggressive. And they get nothing in the inning. Home run, though. Mike Trout gets the scoring started. It's answered, though, by Augustine Ramirez. Please don't tell me that's our 3rd home run of the year as a team. I haven't checked, like, every game or anything. We have 3 home runs as a team. Are you kidding me? Man, why are we hitting so many just soft fly balls? Jason Sellers makes it through the 5th. We do get a couple off of him. I wanted to see some improvement this year. We might be one of the worst home run hitting teams of all time at this rate. Soler just homered, tying the game. And Logan O'Hoppe triples. Angels take the lead in the 7th. Ben Joyce on to close. And with Bride in the on-deck circle, the game is over. Ben Joyce nails down the save, and the Marlins have now lost 9 consecutive games. We haven't won since March, but it is time to check on our first scouting information. And we are seeing Darrell Ingram, the number 1 rated player, drop down our board to 7 with this scouting. We also discover 4 pitchers and 1 outfielder. All right, outfielder ranked at 194, unranked pitcher. Yep, basically no good information there from that first week. There's a new number 1 player on the board, Hank Holder, the shortstop. We'll scout him this time around. Then I switched up the regions on our discovery. Trying to end our losing streak at last. It does not happen. The Angels have now swept us in 3 close games. Augustine Ramirez homers again. Max Meyer has a good outing. In 30th place, the Marlins have 4 home runs. In 29th, the Chicago White Sox have more than double with 10. 10, as in the number of games in a row we have now lost. This is just a bizarre start to the year. Not many guys are hitting the ball well, but one who is. Hot streak to open the year for Griffin Conine. After last year's middling production, this is promising. We're desperate for any good news. Can we just snap a 10-game losing streak, guys? This is unbelievable. We're going to have Valente Biozzo take the mound, replacing Yuri Perez. And I'm going player lock this time around with outfielder Griffin Conine. The only thing he's not doing right now is getting extra base hits. He has a very low isolated power, but at least he's getting on base. He's giving us a chance. More than many right now. That's on to third base, inside out, and he's retired. I need a hit. Marlins leading 2-0 as we move on to the 4th inning against Seth Lugo. They're just taunting me right now, down below. Dodgers win 11 straight. We might not win 11 games before the All-Star break. 2-0 and a 3-0 count. 3-1 count from Conine. Takes the walk. Lopez hitting just 186. But he has such good defense at short. What do you do? Might have to shake something up with this offense soon. I'm not falling for it. I'm going back. We claimed Otto Lopez off waivers. Maybe somebody else is out there on waivers that could boost the offense. As Lopez pops it up at second base. This guy can hit, though. Augustine Ramirez, who has 75% of our team's home runs right now. Through like 13 games or whatever it is. Ramirez, slow ground ball, and he's going to be thrown out easily. We're through 5 innings, and we've only allowed 3 runs, or 3 hits. Conine into center. That ball gets run down. Sounded good, at least. The bar is very low right now, guys. And MJ Melendez has tied the game on a 2-run homer. Ramirez puts us back in front. He has 4 homers on the year. We have 5 as a team. I'm getting us out of player lock mode now. We are in a 3-2 game, bottom of the 8th, thanks to Agustin Ramirez. This camera feels disorienting, though. This offset. Is this really how they do it in KC? I'll watch the Twins play there tonight, and I guess I'll find out. This just feels weird. Bride, great pick. Lopez says, do you really want to replace my bat? He's not scoring us runs offensively often, but he's got to be saving some defensively. Emilio Pagan, it's his 3rd appearance. It's only his 2nd save attempt. I just simulated like 2 weeks of baseball nearly, and I missed nothing when it came to Emilio Pagan's presence on the team. Harrison Bader leads off. They're trying to send the Marlins to an 11th consecutive defeat. Popped him up. That'll reach the seats. And got him on a cutter, strike 3. Popped up Freddie Fermin. It's Bride, and he has space to make the catch. A good hitter now, Michael Garcia. Count going to 2. That's outside. Jonathan India on deck, hoping for a chance. Pagan lifted. In comes Sanchez, and he makes the catch. Nobody beats the Marlins 11 times in a row. We have won, and we won because of a late home run, too, from Agustin Ramirez. Oh, Norby also apparently hit a home run, so those two, you know, they could make it a thing, homering in the same game. I wouldn't mind that. Miami moves to 4-12 now. We look like a mediocre football team. The next day, Royals bounce right back, and we have an injury. Derek Hill MCL sprain, 1 to 2 weeks. So an outfielder goes down. Does anybody know of an outfielder that could fill in? Any suggestions? Any at all? I'm willing to listen. Man, he's hitting .045 right now at AAA. If that stuff keeps up, I don't know how many more times I can do this. But he's already on the 40, man. Welcome back to Kyle Stowers. We won a series, though, guys. We did it. First time since that Atlanta series. 6-4 win. That's a lot of offense for us. 10 hits. I'm stoked for 10 hits. Ramirez goes yard again. He actually leads NL All-Star voting right now with 5 homers, 9 RBIs, because we're not getting on base for him, and he's hitting .317. So we're on our way right now with him. He is currently your, not in the top 3 for Rookie of the Year, but he's first in All-Star voting at his position. Okay, then. Marlins are getting hot right now. We just won 3 of 4. And facing Paul Skeens now. Marlins win the game 4-0. Our best week in a long time. How about Biozo, man? 8 innings, 8 strikeouts, no runs allowed? He's replacing Yuri Perez, and you really couldn't be asking for more than this right now. But let's scout one more time today, see if we uncovered anything good this time around. And now Hank Holder's going to drop to 18. You're going to tell me that all the top guys now are going to come in lower than expected? I'm looking for that, like, slam dunk #1 pick. Like, we can stop thinking about it and start scouting second-round players caliber guy. Every time I scout, they're just going to have a new player ranked #1. I'm okay if it's a pitcher, too. Like, I know we need more position-playing talent, but above all else, just guys who can be elite at their position, whoever has the best chance of that. That's what I want to draft. we did discover a few more players, man. Tell me it went better this time around. Vladimir Ortiz. Okay, 14th on our board as a starting pitcher. We're going to have to scout him much more thoroughly. We also have Chris Casto coming in at 15 on our board. Another pitcher with high velo. Throws high 90s four-seam fastball. Ortiz, he throws a three-pitch mix, including a sweeper and slider. Brian Yamada, 43 on the board. Willie Val, or Valley, 4-year player, center fielder, 93rd on the board. So not getting those top-of-the-board players necessarily yet, unless the scouting's really good here on the young pitchers. So we're going to scout the new number 1 player on our board. We have John Grant, 75 to 99 potential. Does have a year of junior college experience, so a little more reliable there than if he were just 18. We can also scout him 69% in a week, whereas a lot of the 18-year-old prospects, we can only scout like 45% at a time. And then Daryl Frieden, shortstop, 73 to 97 potential, but doesn't seem to be very well developed offensively right now. We're still going to be scouting him right now. And yeah, I wish we'd be doing a little bit better here early in this scouting, but hopefully it turns around. We're now 21 games into the year, 7-14, looking like another tough season in store for our Marlins. We'll focus, though, on trying to get the most out of this season, from developing the young talent to building a good draft board and getting this team ready for the future. And I'm going to change up this lineup, too. I'm going to get Estieri Ruiz at the top and bump down Edwards a little bit. Would be nice with his clutch to have him maybe hit behind some guys, but I mean, his contact is already super high. I'm not really sure if there's really a big deal there with the clutch, given it just replaces an already very high rating. A quick look down at AAA, and what do we see? 3 hot streaks for 3 promising pitcher prospects. Still too early in the year to see very much development, but playing this well early can bring some development once you get to April and May. And then down at AA, Johnny Grieve hitting 204. As long as he's not regressing, I do want to keep him there. Drew Jones hitting the ball pretty well so far. That is very promising. But that'll do it for this episode in the Marlins franchise. Leave your thoughts on Season 2 and any moves that we should be making here in the short term. This has been a rough stretch of baseball. But I'll be back again soon with a lot more Marlins franchise. Really enjoying myself with the series right now. Hope y'all are as well. Please leave a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And stay tuned for more Marlins franchise, everybody. Take care.